Hello and thank you for joining us for Game 3, where we've got 100 Thieves looking to take down Cloud9. I am David Freak Turley, joined by the big boss of the office, Isaac Azale Covey Bentley.
Hello.
Hello. If you want to catch clashes like these live, join us at the LCS studios in Los Angeles, California. Tickets are available at riot.com/LCS tickets. Now let's take a look at the starting rosters. Selecting the blue side is 100 Thieves, with their top laners, Ssumday, their jungler, Meteos. Look at us, who'd have thought? Ryoma in the mid lane, Cody's out of the bot lane with support, Stunt, and coaches Zix and Joseph Chen.
Challenging them on the red side today, it's going to be Cloud9. In the top lane, Licorice. In the jungle, Blaber. Your mid laner today will be Nisqy, alongside bot and support Zven and Vulcan, with coaches Reaper and Westrice.
So a stellar start to the split is what Cloud9 have shown us so far. They put on a clinic against Immortals to kick off week 2.
Yeah, they looked absolutely great. You know, they have been coming out of the gates swinging. I think they've been a super exciting team. They were dominant against Immortals yesterday, and they've been turning in incredibly quick games, right? You know, it was like a 29 or so minute win against Immortals, and they have been, I think, the fastest team in the league by far. And it's been said before, but I think this bot lane change has really kind of turned things around for the team. It has looked really good at the starting of this split. You know, both Zven and Vulcan have been working really well together, put in time on the boot camp, and it's paying off here with a great start for Cloud9.
Yep, Cloud9 definitely do look like the team to beat, but so far only Mark Z thinks that they're the #1 team in the league. We'll see if that squares up at the end of it all, as Vulcan is squaring up against his former partner, Cody's son. 100 Thieves aim for 2 a week against him.
Yeah, Cody, Stunt, and Vulcan played together for actually, quite a while. They had a lot of success together. Actually, almost a 60% win rate over 47 games. Pretty impressive stuff. The tweet, pretty funny one on the Alcove today. We've seen almost no Alcove gaming in the LCS, I feel like.
Yeah, the Alcove mindset's not been coming through in the LCS so far. But I think today
maybe this will be the game. Maybe he'll pick Blitzcrank and hook Cody's son into the Alcove with him.
Yeah, I know Cody's son did reply and said, "Yeah, but don't tell Vulcan or don't tell Zven or anyone or Stunt." But we'll see. Of course, they had an okay showing at Worlds, right? They won some games there as well. Definitely some very good players here. I'm a big fan of both Cody and Vulcan here, and we'll see how they square off against one another. And we're going to have Champs Select going in very soon. I think it's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, it should be really good. I mean, 100 Thieves obviously are going to be the underdogs coming into this one. And for them, I think, people had less of an expectation of a really fast start, coming out in the LCS. I think that, all the messaging we had heard was that it's going to be a bit of a build-up for this team, that, Ryoma needs some time to really kind of come into his own on the LCS stage. But I think he looked great yesterday. He was a really key contributor for the team. And everything feels like it's coming together perhaps more quickly than teams were expecting. And I think a win here against Cloud9 would be a really big deal for this squad, as everyone right now, I think, is looking at Cloud9 and Dig as the best 2 teams in the league currently.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I think they're still the only undefeated teams in the league right now. And yeah, if 100 Thieves do keep stepping up, to me, they were a playoff team and sort of a higher-end playoff team in the preseason expectations. And when we talked to Meteos yesterday, he said that Ryoma was learning very, very quickly. That was what had impressed him the most. And in the 3 games, I think it's been improvement over improvement, sort of game after game. And I want to know how long that growth curve lasts. I want to know, where it ends up here. But so far, I think he has done better than most expectations of him coming in. And if he's a better player than people think, then 100 Thieves can go really high here.
Yeah, I agree that they really can, right? There's high expectations and almost always delivered to by Ssumday and Meteos. These are guys that are very consistent in the league. Cody's son, has had success with pretty much every team he's gone to. He is someone I think that is often overlooked because he's maybe not as big of a brand as some of the other really successful marksman players that have been in the league, like your Sneakies and your Double Lifts.
Yeah, of course.
He's been great. And Stunt, has been a guy who has been around the scene for quite some time. I think he was pretty successful in his stage games back with Phoenix One and those kind of days, but now getting a good shot here to be back on the LCS stage. And it's a fairly young team with, I think, a lot of room to grow, especially when you're looking at Ryoma, Cody, Senna, and Stunt. These are all very young guys who don't have, as much experience as their counterparts in Meteos and Ssumday, who have been around forever.
Basically ever, exactly. Yeah, 2013 onwards and stuff for these guys. So Yeah, gonna be interesting to watch what happens. And yeah, the big thing for me is team growth versus how hot they are out of the gate. Doublelift talked after the Team Liquid win how he's surprised at how poorly most teams are playing on stage. And he actually contrasted it with the Scrim experience, where in Scrims it feels like teams are playing more to their expected level. On stage, there's way more foibles than he was expecting to see, even calling out his own teammates, calling out his opponents as well. And that's, I think, another skill factor here is, your like baseline skill level is something, and then on stage you'll either over or underperform based on your sort of ability to acclimate to that kind of environment. And if right now a lot of these teams, almost every team heavily shanked up the roster by a lot. If that's not coming together on stage, just having your stuff together, just when you're in front of the crowd, can be a huge boost for wins.
It really can. There's a lot of pressure, I think, on teams when you're on a new roster, especially if there are high expectations. You are going to feel that pressure to perform. Right? When you are guys coming into an organization like Cloud9, especially that has such a history of success in North America, when you're looking at Zven and Vulcan, there's a lot of pressure on them, and they have kind of risen to that thus far. I think some players on other teams have been more struggling with that. They really want to be able to perform, and when you're looking at TL, it makes sense that they have struggled out of the gate because really, their intended starting jungler was not here. Then they were practicing with Pobelter for a long time. Surenfire was here a couple days before LCS. So yes, it's your backup option, and you didn't have a lot of time to practice. And then for teams like TSM, I think it's more unexpected that they're kind of having this slow start out of the gate. But again, lots of pressure, a lot of eyes and expectations on those kind of squads. And I think the same thing rings true for most teams in the LCS.
Yeah, and right now it's up to how well they can shape up. C9, again, I'm very impressed with for their ability to come out the gate like really swinging, and that impresses me. And so far, they are the team to beat. Like, all I can really say is Cloud9 look like the #1 team in the league. Even, the eyes are, of course, on Broxah as well, with like, hey, when he finally gets to play with TL on stage, is that even going to work right away? Like,
it's hard to know.
Does that even put you at #1 in the first week? Does it put you there #2, #3 ever? Does C9 go 16-2 and then drop 2 games all playoffs? Maybe that's the team right there, and that's exciting to me. Like, I think there is. It's time to get hyped for Cloud9. They haven't won a split since 2014 spring. Like, it's been so long for them. They've been the perennial 3rd seed to Worlds for so long, and this is the first time you're like, wait, this might be a championship winning team.
And crazy stat for you, Cloud9, they no longer have a single one of those players, right? Left from no championship winning player. No one on Cloud9, has actually won in the NALCS now.
Right.
Yep. One of those teams that has been incredibly successful. They don't have a single player that has actually tasted that glory in NA in all these years.
Yeah,
right?
And Zven's got himself some EU LCS championships, and obviously he's a great player. And I think it's really fun to track Zven's career in the LCS here in North America with a lot of interest as well. When TSM brought him over to replace Doublelift, the goal was TSM saying, hey, we're the best team in the league, but we need to go do well in Worlds. And Zven was, I think, unquestionably, him and Mythy, the best bot lane, the best English-speaking bot lane in the world. And I'm like, okay, well, then that's an upgrade. Like, on paper, that's an upgrade. You bring in Zven. And that didn't work. For basically 2 years, they got into one final that was pretty solid, but Zven did not find the same success on TSM. He comes to Cloud9. There's a great soundbite in week 1 where he's like, finally, a game with mid difference. Yeah. But he's been really, really good on C9 now as well. So it's cool to see players, they're good or they're not quite winning or whatever. This group is working well.
It's kind of the Sven Skaren arc, right? And Sven Skaren, left TSM, had a lot of success with Cloud9. We'll see if that's going to be able to be repeated here from Zven. But we are finally now into Champ Select, so we can focus on these 2 teams here. 100 Thieves going to be going up against Cloud9. And I'm really interested to see if we're going to have any more kind of mix-ups as far as pick and ban, any kind of interesting picks coming out. Jarvan has been, I think, one of the big go-tos for Meteos. It is a very popular jungle throughout the league, but there are some players who really highly prize this pick, above the Lee Sins, above the Gragas's, of the world, which I think it kind of, it's more easy to play, as you're going into the kind of mid and late game stages. It does have some early game skirmishing power, but the playmaking potential, I think, of a Jarvan is much lower than that of a Gragas or a Lee Sin in the later stages. So you're kind of having that trade-off there.
Right, absolutely. And we'll see if it does come through with the final pick for the second phase of bans right now, as Cloud9 need to lock in their final champion. And there's the Lee Sin that we're really kind of expecting here for Blaber. Already put 2 games on it before. Lee Sin's already banned away, so his 3rd Lee Sin game. Kind of almost single-handedly propping up the Lee Sin win rate. the winningest champion in the league. Well, it turns out when you're the winningest team in the league and it's all you play, that works pretty well for champion win rates.
Well, he only has 2 games on it.
I know. I'm just like, super early stats are always a little XD because, like, well, yes, 2 of the 6 wins are on the best team in the league.
100% win rate in 1 game.
Wow, incredible.
Undefeatable.
How could you not ban this ribbon every time just to pick the champion next time it's unbanned? You know, it's like, well, sometimes you're a little trolling with
Well,
it.
and it's situational.
Of course,
right?
of course.
You know,
I know. I'm just making fun of data in general.
You know, Blaber has been great on Lee Sin.
Yes.
And it's also a lot of fun, I think, to see him have, you know, clearly a starting position, and there is not going to be this swapping back and forth or anything that we have seen or heard about. So Blaber is going to get his shot at being a full-time starter throughout this split. We'll see if he can continue to perform well. A lot of marksmen being targeted out now here in the bans for Cloud9. They have already grabbed Senna, so they're banning out a lot of the priority ones. Lucian almost always on the ban table in the first round, but they're banning outside, they're banning out Aphelios. I would immediately think of something along the lines of Misfortune. That is quite popular still in the meta these days, considered a very good laner, has teamfight prowess as well. But that being said, you're then going to be having to pick Misfortune into Nautilus Lee Sin, champions which have the backline access, which can dive, and that can be something that is very troublesome for Misfortune, who doesn't have a dash and can struggle to stay safe. And this just kind of goes bad to worse when you have Camille in there. There's so many dive buddies, but it is going to be the MF locked in.
Yep. MF Leona is what you expect. I mean, these are what the players are playing a whole lot of. I actually I would have kept my eye out for Morgana as it comes out. I would have put out Morgana, though, for Stunt, though, because you're talking about all these dive tools. I think you can have a winning lane and do some really good stuff, but now it's actually very support-heavy lineup here for Cloud9. It's not a support. Zven on Senna can put out some damage, but it is generally a more supportive champion, and Morgana, obviously the same. I think Morg mid is super good. I think he's a very strong champion, obviously good in the LeBlanc matchup, but overall has a lot of good outputs throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of one of the old school counter picks into LeBlanc. You know, you do have some very strong interactions. You have incredibly strong wave clear with the W max, which is almost always what you will go for, you know, in that mid lane. Once you get a handful of levels, you can really start to have LeBlanc pushed in under the turret. If LeBlanc distorts forward, you can answer that with a binding. You have the black shield to actually immune the root coming out from the chains there. And you are going to be, you know, very powerful at supporting and protecting the Senna or even the Camille, who's going to be able to kind of go forward in some of these team fights. You know, Senna can sometimes be very vulnerable to champions like Leona, but when you have this Morgana with the super powerful black shield, you know, amped up by all the AP later in the game, well, it becomes very difficult to actually break that for a Leona, and then you're becoming dependent upon, you know, LeBlanc getting back there too, and that can be really tough.
Yeah, and you're expecting, of course, the side lane fight to go pretty well. Camille, of course, getting the counterpick into Aatrox is another game where we've seen a team get counterpick on both solo lanes. Very frequently, you'll see a blue side draft where you just go jungle bot lane in 1, 2, 3, and then trade a counterpick for a counterpick, and you go there. 100 Thieves went for the early Aatrox, went for the early LeBlanc. Well, I mean, they had to at the very end. You had to pick LeBlanc at some point, and double counterpick for C9 should look very good on all the solos. The bot lane, again, can look pretty nice as well. They got the priority pick on the Senna, so power pick-wise, you have to assume this looks good for C9.
Yeah, I really like the draft for C9. That being said, I do think it is low on consistent damage. If you have a poor early game, you can sometimes get run over with these types of compositions where all of a sudden you're just not actually putting out enough damage to burst people down. Things like the Aatrox and Leona, and as well as this Jarvan flying forward can be very problematic for, you know, the Senna to actually really kind of work her way through.
Yeah.
Also worth noting, this is going to be a Dark Harvest Senna. So we have been seeing almost exclusively Glacial Augment. That is mostly about, you know, that kind of stacking up of the souls, being able to land an auto into a Q for that 2-hit combo. Dark Harvest is, you know, higher damage, of course, but you do have to trade aggressively to really get a lot out of it, because a low stacked Dark Harvest isn't actually adding much damage later on in the game. So we'll see if they are going to be trading more aggressively, playing more aggressively as a result of this summoner to try to really get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try their very best, of course, to do so. And I know last time we saw the Dark Harvest, it had, I think, 2 harvest stacks at like 25-ish minutes, which means the Keystone is used literally twice. Not the most strong, but you know, you mentioned the team being a little bit low damage. Dark Harvest can help just a little bit in getting through that difficulty.
Now this is going to be a 4-man invade. This is actually a double sweeper start. So they actually used Nisqy's sweeper to sweep out that side lane ward. Then they sweep all the way in here for Vulcan, and they know this has not been spotted. It may be sussed out simply because of where that first sweeper was used, but pretty interesting. They do spot Vulcan and Zven coming back to lane. So they are going to know exactly what's going on now, just based on the direction that they actually came through. Meteos will run straight to the red buff, and 100 Thieves did get the shove in that bot lane, so it is going to be some CS missed.
They're going to try for a fight right here. If Nisqy can find a binding, maybe. Gets a slow, walks away. Of course, keep in mind, Glacial Morgana, so the auto attack slow can set up. Also, Jarvan was not seen going into this red buff. He jumped over the wall with EQ, so despite the wards, he got to bypass all of them, and Blaber knows his red is gone.
Yeah, Blaber just tried to run straight red to red, so he was hoping that Meteos was going to be a little bit slower. Had Meteos gone, say, blue to Gromp to red, he would have actually gotten there in time to stop that and get that 3-buff start. But because Meteos knew what was going on, ran straight for it, he is able to grab the opponent's red buff and stay even as far as those go.
A little bit of poke right there. Again, Nisqy just pushing up a little bit and finding some room for harass. Oh, dropped his first CF in the lane. Now a trade comes in. Ryoma gets the electrocute off, and a nice bind. Nisqy gonna find some good damage here.
Yeah, good bit of damage. And the W cooldown is going to be reset for every tick on cannons as well as champions. So you're seeing that he's trying to place that so that it is always on the cannon if he's not going to be able to hit the LeBlanc to keep the cooldown low and maintain the push. Also worth mentioning that it is Glacial Augment on the Morgana, so this is going to be the Super Soaker Spooky Ghost type setup. That is going to help with their engage, be able to scout out opponents, be able to slow them down for potential Nautilus or Lee Sin engage, or even for that follow-up from Zven.
For now, slightly defensive skill ordering. Gets Black Shield on 3. I think it's probably correct when you're against a matchup that wants to fight you and a Jarvan that wants to knock you down. Of course, Ryoma is the only one with enough magic damage to get rid of Black Shield, so he has to beat the Prip. Yep, there we go. No root. Gets one himself back, though. And Nisqy wins the trade.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons it's considered such a good matchup, is that you can always use that Black Shield for the second half of that chains. That's where a lot of the damage is, and that's also where that root is going to come through. So being able to immune that, pretty big deal. It also has felt like so much of the game really has been about pushing lanes. Can you actually get priority in your lane, be able to shove, and allow your jungler to get access to things like the Rift Herald, to get access to things like that Dragon, and Morgana is really going to excel in that regard. It's just not much that LeBlanc can actually do to kind of out-wave clear Morgana.
All right, now we go and look at the game state once again. Early laning lead to Cloud9's side. Some of that is pushing waves that have not yet been answered just yet, but you're seeing 7 CS difference up in the top lane, 10 in the mid without 10 there. Even the bot lane looking pretty solid here, so you gotta say good start to Cloud9. As this wave gets pushed in down here, Zven and Vulcan doing just fine, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Cody and Vulcan to hang out in the outfield together.
Yeah, it was a nice start, though, from the 100 Thieves bot lane as far as they actually kind of got that early recall off. They pushed in their opponents very heavily, so went back to base, double Doran's already purchased up here for Cody's son. Doran's Blade stacking, really effective on MF. It is one of those champions that I talked about, can be somewhat vulnerable to all-ins. This is something that helps to alleviate that, not only through the effectiveness of all the lifesteal and the AD to keep you healthy, but you're getting a lot of flat HP that can help you survive against early all-ins when you are going to 3-4 Doran's Blades, as a lot of MF players like to go.
Yeah, I've seen 4 Doran's Blade stuff. I don't think we're going to go all that far in this game, but yeah, can have a lot of power. In this one, we're seeing from it still do plenty of damage here in the mid lane to keep the going, but the CS difference closing a bit. Ryoma doing pretty solidly here in this matchup. Has burned his first TP for the recall. Right, got the Rush the Corrupting Potion, the Doran's Ring, and the extra Fairy Charm as a mana gain. Yeah, it is 5 minutes in, so the Dragon is alive, and you might see that attempt for the very early solo Mountain Drake.
Yeah, and that Fairy Charm is not going to be turned into a tier. That is just for mana regen for the laning phase. It's something that we used to see.
They are fighting, and Meteos forced away despite the fact that Ryoma's going to be there first.
But Vulcan would be there first too, right?
Yeah.
So that is kind of the key there, that they would have that extra man, and Nisqy was still pretty close. But yeah, the Fairy Charm just for laning. We used to see people kind of go rejuve bead and then just sell that off later on. That's going to be the same idea here. Really don't see LeBlanc going here whatsoever.
Root towards Stunt, not going to go for the play, though. They could have gone for the anchor and tried to make it happen, but Meteos on that control, we're going to make it not happen here, and now attempt to the bottom side. They're going to find a stun towards Zven, tries to walk away, but he is revealed. He's not going to get the bounce, though. Cody's on the other side, but now they go back into Meteos, forcing him away. He's rooted, though. The Q is going to land, and first blood is claimed. Now it's Stunt's turn to run. Shield comes in, Q lands, second Dark Harvest picked up there. Damage is working out.
Yeah, really well played by C9 to actually disengage this. And, oh, another hook comes in.
That's going to be a root on a Cody's son. The follow-through maybe is there. His Stunt is going to run out a little bit of health, but Vulcan taking some shots as well. No follow-through available. Out they go. Low health bars, though.
Yeah, very low health bars, but a bit of a mistake in that all-in from Stunt, as he actually overlapped his Q and Ignite. So both were able to be cleansed off by Zven, which is really important in these early all-ins where Ignite can make up a large percentage of that damage, you have to be very careful to actually stagger those abilities. So, you know, if he cleanses the stun, you Ignite him immediately after to then get the most out of the damage.
All right, well, the solo Mountain Drake does come through for Blaber. Wants to fight again.
So here it is one more time. They got the pass-through Q, a little bit of a chunk down onto Zven. Meteos is on the side. In he goes, Zenith Blade connects. Ignite, Q, both cleansed off, as I had pointed out, and Zven able to just walk it out. That cleanse really paying dividends. The great root does connect onto Meteos, and Blaber with the easy follow-up. His Stunt was not able to get into position to actually try to tank that Q for his jungler. So first blood there, over to Cloud9, and now, ooh, that is silly.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're black shielding. It's a level 1 black shield at this point. That, to me, speaks to inexperience on the champion. If you think a level 1 black shield is going to be able to prevent him from interrupting that combo, right? Like, that is...
Yeah.
The Q is easily going to break your black shield, and then the chain will just go through. You're on a non-moving champion with no minions in between you, so...
Probably under the skill shot.
Yeah, I mean...
Odds are high Ryoma lands that skill shot.
Yeah, so Nisqy looking a little bit silly, but not the end of the world. He actually didn't use his TP to go back to lane. Ryoma had. He's still winning in lane, so it's not going to really mean too much, but it is 100 Thieves making the faster swap here, utilizing that good wave push with MF, and they are on this Rift Herald.
Blaber's around, though, does have Smite, does have the opening to go for it, goes, and no, it's going to go to Meteos picking it up. Nice ward up, keeps Blaber to safety, but now the re-engage Stunt coming across. Licorice, 1Q from the kill, over the top they go. Stunt is gone, and here comes the re-engage. The kick flash just to guarantee it, and Ssumday dies on his own day.
Yeah, they get 2 kills there for the Rift Herald. Good job by 100 Thieves to actually secure that, to make sure that Blaber wasn't able to steal this away, but still pretty costly. Little adventure there for them, as they are going to lose that. And now trying to go for this blue buff.
Further shenanigans, slows are on, decent damage. Cody Sun not level 6, the flag, and Meteos, with, I believe, Red Smite gets the rest of the damage, picks it up, one on the board for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, that trade back, pretty big. They do still lose that blue buff, I believe, but they are at least able to get a kill back for themselves, and we'll see how much can they get with this Rift, because that is a pretty big investment. You lost multiple lives going for it. You know, you lost kind of control of mid lane, and you are pretty far down in gold if you're 100 Thieves right now. So this really had to work out for them to kind of hang on in this game. Blaber goes in with the Q plus Smite. Let's see where he gets down to. Wow, yeah, Meteos just smote a little bit earlier. Blaber wasn't able to get his off, so great Smite there from Meteos. But then C9 is all here. They are stronger at the moment. Licorice flying in with that Senna ultimate layered over top to give him the safety to actually do so. And then just a great kick flash, you know, sectioning off the odd man out, as Ssumday was off to the side and away from his team. So a couple kills do go C9's way, and they're up a pretty significant amount of gold here at 10 minutes.
Alrighty, 1,800 gold and a Mountain Drake, which one thing I do want to bring up about Mountain Drake is I would argue that it is better than Infernal in almost any comp as a one-of. So if you're, let's say, Nautilus, Infernal is actually nothing for you, right? Like, you don't care about getting 6-8D in, like, one ability power. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. But Mountain Drake multiplies your base stats. And champions scale up to about 80 armor and 450 magic resist natively just by existing. So literally every champion gets a non-trivial amount of extra durability, so that even if none of them buy a stone plate and none of them buy any more chain vests, they're still getting more durable.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that, right? You know, Infernal is not a big multiplier anymore. It is just the 4% ADAP. You know, I think there are some champions that kind of uniquely get more from that. You know, if you have a Veigar or a Jhin or things like that. But in general, yeah, Mount not a bad one-off dragon. In general, all the Season 10 dragons are much less powerful than they used to be in Season 9, though. So it's, you know, kind of that time investment, or try to get the soul later on, as Cody has been really good at actually prepping these minions to try to get the angle on the Q pass-through damage for Zven, but able to heal that off pretty easily.
Looking for the play, nice anchor into the root, but Aftershock is on. There's a stun. They're gonna knock down Blaber and go for more, but first off, the stopwatch there. Vulcan running the ult, timed perfectly for Zven, but Vulcan stopwatches as well. Ryoma, can he find the last little shot? The shield comes back in the heal, and finally out of the turret. That's a 2 for 100 Thieves. What a fight.
Really nice turnaround there. That was the C9 play they are engaging on, but Blaber had no flash, gets locked down by Stunt, with Cody Sun in a great position to channel that ultimate, and Cody Sun's MF ulti got so much work done, as we will have
Yeah, that's not a real fight.
Skirmish, perhaps, back and forth there, but yeah, 100 Thieves get the kills, and they also get turret plates up on that top side. So the gold gap closing quite significantly. It was just closed by a good 500 plus gold there. So going to be feeling pretty good about that as Cloud9, Blaber right back out on the map, and they're looking for Ssumday here.
Oh, he hit Fialco for a second, gets away from the first stun, can't find this one though, but still juking away from all the empowered Qs. Ssumday not going to find anything more than a single knockout, flashing away, but the Q's already landed. Blaber trying to find that fight, but without flash and without kick, can't secure that kill.
You're going to be pretty happy about that if you're Ssumday. Licorice missing the stun meant that he actually felt he had to flash backwards, had to get out of there, was nervous about a potential trade kill and a reset on that ulti, and Blaber in trouble now.
Gonna find the root into the follow-up, and Cody's sun goes down.
Yeah, Blaber dies top lane, runs straight bot lane, dies there also. So is in a little bit of trouble now. That's going to be the Dragon going over the way of 100 Thieves. Ssumday in the 1v2 trade Summoners gets them priority. The rest of the squad shows up and going to be feeling really good about this Dragon, but Nisqy is getting some damage up on that top side.
And I want to sing some praise for 100 Thieves. So it's gonna sound negative, but it's going to end positive here. The 100 Thieves 2-1 record is a little bit fraudulent right now. The wins they have were against teams with 1 or fewer wins in this season. They have had an easy schedule up to now. Cloud9, by far their hardest test. And in the last 6 minutes, have looked really good against what is expected to be right now the best team in the league. So 100 Thieves fans, if you're hyped about the 2-1, you should be really hyped about it now because they're looking pretty good against a very strong team.
You finished strong. You finished strong.
It started weak and ended strong.
The crowd was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah. Why are you saying my 2-1 record doesn't matter? It's like, hold on, I'm there for you.
A win is a win.
A win is a win. It does.
At the end of the day, but Cloud9, yeah, having some struggles here. 100 Thieves battling back after what looked to be a very dominant early game from C9. They were winning in farm in all the lanes early on. They do still have pretty nice advantages in mid and bot, especially as far as the CS goes. But 100 Thieves have been finding opportunities to kind of punch back, right? And we have seen, similar to yesterday, Ryoma often is down in farm, but he has been able to make big contributions on the Zoe, and now looking pretty good on the LeBlanc, making some nice roams and really contributing where he can.
Ssumday doesn't actually get the auto attack off. He needs to get the healing, finally gets that auto down now. Nice ult! Jukes the third Q. Here comes Senna ult over the top for the shield. Ssumday dodges the damage, but can he get away? There comes the second stun, and Licorice takes the kill.
Yeah, and that right there is demonstrating why that can be such a tough matchup for the Aatrox. That third Q is so much of your damage, and every Camille worth their salt will be looking to ult that to avoid that damage. And now it's Cloud9 engaging here mid lane. Nisqy coming in.
The fight coming through, a kick back, gonna get him away from safety. Nowhere else to go, and Stunt's gonna fall.
Yeah, that Senna also really does help when you want to look for side lane plays. Licorice going to have additional confidence to actually look for that. The Camille ultimate locking you in, increasing your chance of actually landing the damage on Ssumday, and also guaranteeing you will get that shield over onto the Camille. So with that, in addition to the fact that you're actually ulting and immuning that Q3 damage coming through, it becomes very, very difficult for Aatrox to ever get enough damage to actually take down that Camille. And that is going to go to worse as Cloud9 look like they should have this Rift Herald. And Licorice likely has gold for Triforce, or very close to it.
Yeah, he's got to be really close to that mark right now. It only costs 300 gold to combine from that point. So, take a small bit of a wave, and then you're going to be there, and we can see that bot lane fight again.
Yeah, so here this is one more time. He's waiting in the brush, down a level, but does start this off very well with the stun, able to actually proc the auto for the passive, levels up off of one of those minions, so then even on the level 10, just trying to avoid as much of this damage as he can, and watch as he does hold. As soon as Q3 comes out, you're going to ult reactively to that, and then look very aggressively for this, calling in for the Senna ultimate, knowing that there's no way for Ssumday to actually escape from that.
Yeah, I'm still sad Ssumday managed to Q too early. He prevented his first passive auto from actually finishing the animation, and then landed 2 more Qs afterwards. That cooldown later than it should have been. May have had a chance for a second heal at some point in that fight with the ult on.
It is possible, but it didn't seem very close.
Yeah.
Maybe you can slink away to the turret if you can get one more, but I don't know. This early in the game, it can be very difficult. And
maybe dropping all the same, but we're going to see the top lane split push happen for Ryoma. Going to find some gold for himself. Mid Herald charge comes through. First for the game by about a second. By a full second, C9 gets first turret down the mid lane, and they might look to push even farther. Not a lot of defense. Going to get a single charge. Almost always. Then turret at 1/3, and out they walk.
Yeah, Ryoma waffling a little bit, unsure if he wanted to try to come and join or stay up to top lane. He does decide to actually just go right back to that top lane to push out another wave. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Licorice is going to be able to take down that tier 1 Cloud9. Looking to reset and I think get it out on the map to try to prepare for this next dragon that will be coming up.
Good game state right now. Cloud9 resetting with plenty of time, right? A full minute for the Drake. That's when you ideally want to have the recall coming through. It gives you time to fight for a wave control, fight over the wards back and forth, then be in position, everything else. Anything less than this, it gets a little tight to drop something on the play. So really good heads up by C9. They got the catch of the turret gold, knocked out extra control wards, and then they're ready to go to set this up.
And you'll notice, some of the buys coming through here are pretty big. Triforce completed plus a stopwatch. Stopwatch ready for Blaber also here. And there's no stopwatches, that are actually ready on the other side of the map here for 100 Thieves. So this is going to be a big advantage coming into this next team fight, especially on a couple of your divers who can play much more aggressively at this dragon fight, knowing that they have a stopwatch to buy time and really kind of waste the time of the carries like Cody, who's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting if they want to win a team fight.
A little bit of poke right there. Want to point out triple Ninja Tabby on 100 Thieves. They have heavily itemized against the mostly physical damage C9 lineup. I think Morgana can be a very high damage champion, but when you're going for the GLP build, it's not quite the same. You're not getting, electrocute chunks down. So I think correct to mostly ignore MR. Black Shield on Vulcan, not going to get hit there, but that's now a short cooldown.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very effective, and Cody has picked up a stopwatch, so 100 Thieves will have one on their side. But it's the engage coming in onto Stunt. TP coming in from Camille.
Okay, and that's without the Aatrox here, so 5v4. Can they find the ult? Can they find the engage? Looking out towards Meteos, gonna get the ulti onto him. No good way out, but the re-engage isn't too good. The stun comes over the top. Bullet time there as well. Meteos is gone, and the shield is plenty. It's a 1 for 0. Aatrox is in, but is it gonna be enough? Cody being run down in the bind land. Stunt gonna be next up. 3 kills to nothing. It's a complete slaughter. 100 Thieves forced to run away.
Yeah, Cody just cannot escape, and despite the fact that it looked like he had a great bullet time, Zven's ultimate, he's already level 11, and that Senna shielding negated a lot of what he was getting done there as the ultimate came across his whole team. And Cloud9 will be able to secure this dragon, get another kill for themselves, and Licorice may want more, but would be risky with Ssumday around.
Yeah, can't quite fight the 1v2, but still a great fight for Cloud9. 3-0 in the battle. The Cloud Drake added up on top as well. Great for Senna. Get those cross-map ults.
Yeah, it also costs Cody both his summoners as well as the stopwatch. So here this is one more time. They TP in earlier. Ssumday was trying to walk it down, so Cloud9 looks for that hard engage. There's a great TP ward available, but so much damage is actually coming out early on in this fight, and then Cody stands forward, does get what is the good initial part of his ultimate, a lot of damage out, but Nautilus ultimate dropped over onto Cody. Nisqy there to follow up, and that Nautilus ultimate is point and click. It's always going to interrupt that bullet time. Nothing you can really do about that. So the follow-up pretty easy for Nisqy, and with MF going down, 100 Thieves just didn't really have enough left for tank.
That's the kind of thing where I was actually thinking like, hey, what about Morgana support? By the way, there's a kill. Nisqy taking down LeBlanc 1v1. Now Blaber inside the jungle gets a kick at the stopwatch, but does he have the way out? Tries to flash to the wall, does so, but there is Leona to set up the shutdown. Now a chase through onto Zven. He's trying to run away, gets a quick heal, gets a teammate now as well, and ooh, that anchor toss was so close, but no kill.
Yeah, 100 Thieves gonna have to back off after that. Nisqy may be able to get Meteos.
Oh, he's gonna lock out just in time, gets to the side.
Yeah, that flag and drag buffer, very good for Meteos, able to pull himself out of that binding it did look like, and
yeah, you can EQ out of Roost, so not a huge problem for him. And now Licorice in a 1v1, gets the true damage, gets knocked up though, has to be respectful. Conqueror is on. Decides he's gonna run away for now, but Ssumday, oh, almost found that knockup.
Yeah, he's gonna back off, building towards that Ravenous Hydra, so we'll be able to heal up after these types of fights. Nisqy now getting quite strong though, has his 2 major items completion. He has that Super Soaker as well as Spooky Ghost, so he has the double Glacial Augment items. We'll see where he wants to build into next. This is going to be that solo kill here. Nisqy just going straight forward. Double Distortion was used by Ryoma, so as soon as you actually use that, he just flies forward with the ultimate, locks him down. Once you are locked in the ultimate, the binding is free, the W damage is going to be guaranteed, so a little bit of an overestimation of his damage and safety on that LeBlanc, and Nisqy able to capitalize, and then Blaber being punished as he stepped a little bit too far. And just a great flash to avoid that anchor toss as Nisqy was coming down, and that could have been an additional kill for Cloud9.
Definitely could have been. Either way, still 3,500 gold, putting Cloud9 ahead, and only just about 7.5 minutes till Cloud Soul, which actually is awesome on Morgana. Getting the move speed on your ult to chase people down is actually really, really meaningful here. And now an attempt towards the mid lane. They will find a bit of a stun, but look at the re-engage. So much damage. Ryoma forced away. Ulti's up, and ooh. Can't quite kill him, but still painful all the same. They go in for round 2. Stunt is going to drop now as well. 5 deaths in the game. Let's let Meteos flag and drag away.
Yeah, it's getting really tough for 100 Thieves. These fights, they're just kind of getting disengaged very easily most of the time, and then the re-engage is quite strong between Nautilus as well as the slows coming out from Morgana, and Morgana also sitting on a 12-stack Mage Eyes now, so you do have that bonus speed at 10+ stacks, so that is going to be helpful. The ultimate gives you bonus speed, and if you do get that Cloud Soul, as you're talking about, that is a really, really strong one. It's almost impossible to actually escape from the Morgana, who gets such a huge burst of move speed.
The game gets farther and farther away. 5,000 gold the lead right now. Want to do a quick soul check? There's actually 2 to do here for Zven. So for the Dark Harvest, it has been used 8 times.
That's
and
pretty
worth pointing out that because it scales on level and it scales off AD, the actual soul damage is about 30% of the damage output of this keystone. So, you know, didn't need to stack it up heavily hard, but certainly going to be quite nice. And as far as the passive is concerned, we got a pretty clean 48 here.
Yeah, so not too bad. That is one of the things we had been kind of talking about a little bit is while Senna generally scales very well with late games, people talk about the souls and all the different range you're getting. In the LCS, there's much less fights and there's much less trading, so people don't have nearly as many souls as you sometimes would expect, right? You know, 48, not a very big amount when you are comparing that to, say, a really scrappy solo queue game that you might be playing the champion in. But C9 all grouped up. It is going to be up to 100 Thieves, I think, to look for these types of clever engages, right? Get pockets of vision where you know Cloud9 can't spot you, and that's why they're trying to do right now with Ryoma and Meteos, kind of just setting up here in this brush, hoping that someone from Cloud9 is isolated and can get picked off, because it's so damn hard for LeBlanc to actually engage into a team fight against this Morgana, against this Nautilus, who can lock you down and make you feel pretty useless.
Meteos open for shenanigans down here in the brush. Pulls over Ryoma here as well. Don't believe they were spotted. Hoping to find some kind of flank. Morgana just across the wall against them. Now Vulcan gonna kill a ward. Doesn't give the gold to Blaber. Selfish. Would have gotten the gold anyway. And look at that, Zven, only remaining deathless player in the LCS this year. Has had a good year with Cloud9. Short as it's been so far, but again, looking very good together.
Yeah, really strong first 2 weeks thus far, looking to make that 4-0 and in a good position to do so. They are up 5,000 gold, and I do think that they have the superior kind of team fighting composition here. You know, with their advantage, going to be able to grab a 3rd dragon, so 1 off soul, and they will have a lot of chances to get it, right? When you are sitting at that 3-1, but before the dragons are off the map, you're going to have 3 chances at least to be able to grab that.
All right, looking good. Still, expectation was Cloud9 wins this game. Looking like it so far. We're pretty early in, and they are really far ahead, so looking like they are going to clean up here and go for the 4-0 undefeated first 2 weeks. That's what's expected to be in their future. We'll see if something turns around here, if a big play can happen.
Yeah.
100 Thieves going to need a lot to get that to come through, though.
I want to see 100 Thieves trying to be a little bit more proactive about finding picks, because I think that is one of the best ways they can get something done. Licorice is being, you know, fairly brazen about how heavily he's pushing and actually trading with Ssumday at times, and perhaps they could make a move alongside Stunt, you know, send him down to actually shadow Ssumday and try to look for a 2v1, try to get a kill there to make something happen, because this 4-man squad from Cloud9 has felt pretty impenetrable.
Ooh.
Like, you can engage on the Nautilus, but he has Stoneplate, and Stoneplate turns support tanks into true tanks for the duration of them, right? You know, it is just so damn hard to knock them down. So when you have, you know, just the Nautilus kind of wandering forward and clearing out wards, Leona can't go on that, knowing that he will not die before Morgana and Senna arrive.
Meteos gets a knockout. It's away from the bind. Now a fight towards Ssumday at half HP already. Licorice dodges every single knockup there. And again, Cloud9 getting a lot done. 4-1 in turrets. Meteos already was broken a while ago. Baron on the field, but the ward control not amazing. There's a dead Scuttle Crab that gives 100 Thieves vision there, so not going to do too much just yet. But they can wait that one out and eventually go for that play.
The other thing to note is with these types of compositions that C9 does have, your Baron take is relatively slow. You know, Senna is not a high DPS marksman. You are not going to shred through Baron. You know, this is not like the Kaisas and Blade of the Rune King marksman we used to see a lot in Season 9. So it is going to be a lot slower, and Mountain also does not increase your damage against that objective anymore. So that is something that is working in 100 Thieves' favor. They don't have to be as worried about any sort of rush, and now they're looking for that type of play that I was talking about, trying to pick off Licorice, but passing like ships in the night, neither one spotting each other. The wards not catching vision of each other, and now they're going to see him.
Red is gone. Licorice gets a stun into Ssumday. The E is on cooldown, but they can't find the re-engage, and even Vulcan came down to make sure they were safe. So, Cloud9, even with a little bit of luck in that case, that definitely could have turned sideways. Licorice happened to get away, gets away from Meteos, and he's going to be just fine here as the red buff is stolen, and we still tick down the time until the Cloud Soul is up. Just for some extra engage tools, extra movement speed. Certainly can matter in the fight.
Yeah, it really can, right? I think not all the champions get a ton out of it. I think Morgana really is the best for it. Camille, great, you got move speed, but they're locked in the circle.
Yeah,
with you.
the thing anyway, yeah.
You know, Lee Sin maybe can run away or something after you kick them. Nautilus, you can run in a little bit faster to follow up on your engage, but, you know, Senna getting very little from that if you're looking at, you know, those champions.
Yeah.
Because you are kind of locked in while you're ulting, and the move speed becomes less necessary. But, of course, the 10% flat move speed, I think, is one of the most prized parts of that soul.
Yeah, I think it's more of the overall power. Now there is a fight down to the bottom side of the map, and half health on both these top laners. A big hold over on a Ssumday, trying to run, and Death's Dance was enough, so Zven gets the kill credit from across the map. And now it's Ryoma, forced to get away as well. Hits the blast cone, jumps out.
Yeah, getting away there from Nisqy's ultimate, so that is pretty big. But now your top laner is down, so Camille has free reign on the bot side. Cloud9 can push mid, can push bot. I think at the very least they're going to be able to get a tower here or threaten the Baron. If not both, it's going to be pretty tough, I think, for 100 Thieves to hold on to all their objectives at this point, as Camille will get that bottom tier 2.
Turrets keep falling down. C9 winning in the side lanes. All right, the Morgana was counterpicked into the LeBlanc. The Camille counterpicked into the Aatrox. And C9 keep finding the matchups. They keep finding the ways to tear this map open. They give away so little on this game. 6,000 now their gold lead. They're taking away the opposing jungle, and they're just 50 seconds away from the Cloud Soul. Maybe 100 Thieves can contest. Maybe they buy another 5 minutes here.
Yeah, they can definitely try, and I think they will. I think when you're already this far down, giving up soul often feels like you've lost the game, so teams perhaps will decide to make their stand there. The other side of that coin is if you say, hey, well, at least it's not combat stats, let's try to wait and scale and hope that Cloud9 messes up. But, you know, Cloud9 has been playing a pretty airtight game. 100 Thieves looking to try to make a play here around mid lane, but Licorice is behind them, and I don't think they know it. Cody Sun's in trouble.
Cody Sun has to flash it away, but now Licorice in a bit of a 1v2, but a nice anchor buys some time against Stunt now. Look for the re-engage. Gonna find another route there, gonna hit on 2 people. Here comes the fight, big damage across. Bullet time over the top, big shield though. No kills either side just yet, but how is Jarvan getting out? And he is not. Zven is on a rampage. Jungler dead, and the Cloud is spawning. This is pretty much an uncontestable trade.
Yeah, pretty much guarantees that Cloud9 are gonna be able to grab this soul, and again, all the time just not able to access those carries. They pressure Cody Sun so heavily, he has to back off, and then the only thing your bullet time is actually hitting is a stone-plated Nautilus who's gonna get Senna ulted, right? And it's just not enough, so Cloud9 running straight up to the Baron now. Still 12 seconds on Meteos, they can at the very least threaten it. Licorice is pushing in mid lane. They use the Spooky Ghost to actually scout out if anyone's in that area. No, it is, so Cloud9 are on it, and they're gonna go for it.
And this is going to be a pretty easy Baron here as well, but they're going to try to fight. They're going to have to. Meteos is alive, running from the base. It is a slow fight. Ryoma going to look for some poke. Gets queued. It's away. Looking again as Zven turns his team a little invisible. Slow comes down. Aatrox comes in. They found the Aatrox. Here comes the hard engage, and Ssumday, he is going to drop a 1 for 0. And the ult pulls him back in. He can't get away. The Octagon just too far from the side, a 2 for 0, and a re-engage yet again. Cloud9 have everything they need to win this game.
Yeah, well, their Baron isn't that fast. It is very safe because of all the healing and shielding they have here with Senna in that pit. So they're able to start it up, make 100 Thieves come in contest, and then look for the turn with the Nautilus. Strong engage, really paying dividends here and getting kills on both the soul laners. They've got the Baron, they've got a 9,000 gold lead, and the soul. Cloud9 playing this out really intelligently. There's no reason to 50-50 this. You don't have to go for those sorts of risky plays when you're in this power position. So instead, they use the Shroud, that hook just barely tagging Meteos. The hitbox on that really is massive, and that's got to be frustrating for Ssumday as he does get tagged. And then Ryoma, once the ult is cast by Licorice, there's no escaping that. It doesn't matter how many times you try to distort over the wall, you're coming right back.
Well, they're going to do their very best to stay alive here, 100 Thieves. The time is running out pretty rapidly. 9,000 gold lead, Baron buff on, Cloud Soul on. I would not play for Elder Dragon, by the way, on the G9 side. Maybe Licorice can be at least knocked up. He puts the ult down to buy a few more seconds, but there's so much damage coming in. Oh, he actually going to find a re-kill, and it's owned the Guardian Angel down. So here comes the reinforcements, and Ssumday, he's going to drop now as well. Licorice will not die. He's 3-1-8. And a 2 for 0 when he thought they caught him.
Yeah, I think that'll do it. I mean, it's a valiant effort there from 100 Thieves. You've got to try something risky like this when you are up against it. But with those kills, they can just march straight down mid lane. They have the Baron buff, and I don't think 100 Thieves have anywhere close to the wave clear they need to hold on.
Probably not. Edge of Night pop by Ryoma, not going to really be enough. Here's the turrets are falling, and hey, it's slower than their average. 100 Thieves made them work for it, but Cloud9 going to remain undefeated. Going to be the first LCS team to go 4-0 in 2020. Let's look for a bit more damage. One final team fight to pad the KDA. Stunt gonna add a final death. The Nexus going to drop, and Cloud9 are the team to beat in North America.
Four and 0. It's been a hell of a couple weeks for Cloud9. Gonna be really happy about how they are playing here on the LCS stage. And I've got to say, this one felt like a bit of a draft kingdom to me. It felt like Cloud9 really had their opponent's number. I think the picks were incredibly intelligent. The last pick, Morgana, very unexpected into the LeBlanc, and it felt like it shut down so many of the options that 100 Thieves had. They had side lane advantage with the Camille. They had support for that Camille to play even more aggressively with the Senna. They had, a pushing and winning mid lane that is more useful in the team fights with the Morgana. It just felt like they had kind of checked all the boxes, and they played really well with that to close out what was a very clean game, it felt like, start to finish.
Looking really good. KDA King Meteos when he entered the scene here on Cloud9 himself, but Zven on the side, deathless in 4 games. Probably the KDA King of probably the world professionally so far right now. Doing absolutely amazing. Nisqy is happy. The whole Cloud9 squad got to be happy with the fact that, they did drop a lot of the old roster, right? You dropped your MVP, right? Honda MVP Sven Skaren sold off the Evil Geniuses. Their old support was Zazel gone. They signed Zven from DSM.
Nisqy, their longest standing member.
Right, to drop Nisqy. But this is the best C9 has looked maybe since the 2013 run. Now, we're only 4 games in, right? But you beat the defending champions. Asterisk, I know. You haven't played Dignitas, the other undefeated team yet. Asterisk, I know. But C9 look very good.
Yeah, they look very, very good. And I think that they are playing the best of any team in the league thus far.
Yeah.
We will have to see how this shakes out. And you also have to remember that they were 1 game away from winning last split.
Yeah.
Right? Against that defending champion team who had won 4 in a row at full strength. So it's not as though they were a slouch team in summer.
Of course.
With those players that they had. Time will tell, because really at the end of the day, you can have a great regular season, but it comes down to how you're going to perform in that postseason. Can you take down TL? Because that's what everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
And they were 1 game away from doing it in summer, so the only way to be better than that is to win.
I know, it's so weird. Like, to me, it's like, if you're watching, I think C9 fans are going to just continue to have that little thing where people won't give you the full credit because, like, well, they look the best team in the league. Yeah, but TL's not full strength. It doesn't count yet, right? And I wonder when they will get the full credit because
when they beat TL in the finals.
Well, I know, right?
That's I think the only time any team will get that credit. Because TL has won 4 straight, right?
Sure.
They have dominated the league. They've clearly been the best team over the last 2 years. So whether you're Dignitas, whether you're Cloud9, whether it doesn't matter who you are, no one's going to say you're better than TL, I think, until you beat TL in the playoffs.
And that's just interesting to me, right? Is the fact that I think it's okay to believe it in your own hearts for the C9 fans. Like, you want to believe you're the best team, go for it, right? And, like, I'm there with you, I'll support you and all that. That's fine. But the rest of the league community will not give you back. I got your back, all right? Yeah. Every fandom, I got your back. If you think you're the best team, I got your back. It's cool. You can bring that one out there. But yeah, it is interesting to me that they won't get the widespread recognition until Brox joins the league, and that just like hangs over the head of the C9 storyline, which I just find really interesting. Now, for more on Cloud9's 4-0 start, let's send over to Gabby and Cloud9's longest standing member.
Thank you so much, Freak. It feels kind of weird to say that you're the longest standing member because I feel like for so many people watching, they've gotten to see your entire journey so far. So my first question to you, C9, obviously doing really well so far, and a lot of that comes down to this objective focus. It feels like you're hitting check marks in a way. So as far as your preparation with you and the rest of the team, how much is that macro focus a part of these overall victories?
I mean, I think our back row is really good, but you can't macro if you don't win lane. Like, that's kind of the thing. I think that, like, our 2 biggest strengths is that, 1, we're all really, really strong laners, And then 2, because we win lane so often, we're able to practice like the proper macro for closing out games like all the time. Just like in scrims, mainly like on stage 2, but that's not really like where you're practicing. So I think it's like win lane then macro focus for us, and it's not really like macro first.
Well, speaking of laning, you even had a moment early on with Camille using the stuns effectively to be able to get those one-off picks. So as a laner, and especially with the discussion around top lane and how impactful it can actually be within the game, how confident are you feeling in your contribution as the veteran status person on this roster?
I mean, I feel really good about my play right now. I think that for me, the way I look at top lane is you're kind of like the team insurance policy, where if things go badly on the rest of the map, then if you're doing well and you're up levels and you're playing well, then you can like help carry the game and you can put resources into top lane, but you're more of like a secondary carry, which I really, really enjoy. And also you're just on an island a lot, which like I love the 1v1, so I'm really happy with it.
Well, and thinking about all the pressure on Cloud9, a lot of people are looking back to 2014 and thinking, oh, that's the last time they ended up winning a split. Let's see them do it again. And while that's the history for the org, being that you weren't around at the time, do you feel as connected to that because of just everyone around you, or do you feel like you're in this whole new era?
I think for me, it just feels like a new era. I don't think I'm trying to win it again because I haven't won before. Like for me, it's just like I want to win the LCS, and that's like definitely my goal for Spring Split, Summer Split, and then do well at Worlds is like obviously the goal after that. But like I want to win the LCS right now, and it's just like it's gonna be my first time winning, so it's weird to say like I'm gonna win it again. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of winning, your team and Dignitas, the only 2 to have only wins at this point in time, how much does this align with your original expectations?
I mean, I was definitely nervous. I think like anytime you make roster swaps, it's always going to be like scary because it's like it's unknowns coming in. You don't know how well we're all going to like all the players are going to mesh together, or like how people really are in a team environment. But so far, like it's been really, really great. All my teammates have been working really hard, and I'm really proud of all of them.
Well, from an outside perspective, you can put those worries aside because I think all of the fan base behind Cloud9 is very proud of what you and the rest of the roster have been able to do so far. So thank you again, Licorice, for joining me over here. But we are going to be taking a break. When we return, it's Immortals versus Golden Guardian. So stay tuned.
He's not going to get the bounce, though. Cody's on the other side, but now they go back into Meteos, forcing him away. He's rooted, though. The Q is gonna land. Jukes the third Q. Here comes Senna over the top of the shield, sending down to the damage, but can he get away? There comes the second stun, and Licorice.
Leona's gonna be there soon.
You're fine. All you.
Can we look here?
1 HP top. Dead.
Yeah, I'm looking at Jarvan, guys. Eric goes in. LeBlanc's here, he's here.
Slash.
Go back.
Here's the turrets are falling, and hey, it's slower than their average. 100 Thieves made him work for it, but Cloud9 gonna remain undefeated. Gonna be the first LCS team to go 4-0 in 2020.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.